Welcome, basketball fans. Today, we take a deep dive into the life, journey, and legacy of a woman whose story embodies leadership, resilience, and evolution. Stephanie White's path is not just about basketball. It's about growth, transformation, and purpose. From her days as a small-town girl with big dreams in Indiana to her rise as one of the most respected minds in women's basketball, White's journey reminds us that greatness isn't only about the scoreboard. It's about vision, values, and the courage to lead when the world is watching, and even more when it isn't. Born on June 20th, 1977, in Shelbyville, Indiana, Stephanie White grew up surrounded by the heartbeat of basketball. In Indiana, the sport isn't simply a pastime, it's a religion. Every driveway hoop, every packed high school gym, and every Friday night game carries the energy of tradition, pride, and identity. And for Stephanie, basketball wasn't just part of her environment, it became her language. She was drawn to the rhythm of it, the squeak of shoes on hardwood, the bounce of the ball echoing in the gym, the satisfaction of a perfectly executed pass. From a young age, she was consumed by a desire to understand and master the game. Growing up in West Lebanon, Stephanie was never the type to be satisfied with good enough. She was a student of detail, a competitor by nature. Her early coaches remember her as the kid who stayed after practice, studying the smallest aspects of her game: foot placement, passing angles, timing. She wanted to understand why things worked, not just how. Even then, her basketball IQ was evident. She didn't just play with her hands and feet, she played with her mind. Her competitive fire burned brightest at Seeger Memorial High School, where she became a local legend and statewide sensation. She was the kind of player who lifted her team simply by being on the floor. Her leadership wasn't loud or performative. It was composed, purposeful, and commanding. She led by example, demanding excellence from herself before expecting it from anyone else. During her time at Seeger, she averaged eye-popping numbers and quickly established herself as one of the most gifted players Indiana had ever produced. Her performances drew attention from college programs across the nation. But even as the spotlight grew, Stephanie's focus never wavered. She wasn't driven by fame. She was driven by love for the game. In 1995, she earned the honor of Indiana Miss Basketball, a title that symbolized her dominance and consistency. But more importantly, it represented something deeper: her commitment, her grit, and her ability to perform under pressure. By the time she graduated, Stephanie White was a household name in Indiana basketball circles, a player whose intensity matched her intelligence. She was ready for the next step, and that next step would be monumental. When Stephanie decided to play for Purdue University, she wasn't just staying close to home. She was stepping into a program on the brink of greatness. Under the guidance of legendary coach Carolyn Peck, White became the heart of the Purdue Boilermakers. She entered a team filled with talent, but helped transform it into one with championship discipline. At Purdue, she honed not only her physical skills, but also her leadership voice. She learned to command a team, to motivate through composure, and to lead through times of both triumph and turmoil. Her leadership culminated in one of the most historic moments in Purdue basketball history, the 1999 NCAA championship. That year, White was the emotional and tactical leader of a Boilermaker team that captured the hearts of basketball fans nationwide. Her playmaking, scoring, and defensive grit made her one of the most complete players in the nation. She averaged 20.2 points per game that season, led the Big Ten in scoring, and was named the National Player of the Year. But as White herself often reflected, the numbers weren't what mattered most. It was the chemistry, the connection, the belief in something bigger than individual success. That championship was more than a trophy. It was a validation of years of sacrifice and leadership. White's Purdue team became a symbol of unity and excellence in women's basketball, and her name was forever etched into the sport's collegiate legacy. For Indiana basketball fans, she became a hero, a product of their state's spirit, discipline, and devotion to the game. After college, Stephanie made the leap to the professional level, a transition that has humbled even the best of players. The WNBA was still young when she entered the league, and the competition was fierce. White was selected by the Charlotte Sting in the 1999 WNBA draft before later joining the Indiana Fever, a return to her roots that seemed almost poetic. As a professional, She wasn't the flashiest player on the court, but she was one of the smartest. Her understanding of spacing, rhythm, and execution made her a coach's dream. She knew how to read the floor like a general. Her greatest weapon wasn't athleticism, it was her mind. Though her professional playing career was relatively short, it became the foundation for something greater. Every game, every practice, and every huddle became a classroom for Stephanie. She studied the game from every angle, analyzing coaches' strategies and understanding the psychology behind winning teams. By the time she retired as a player, White had already begun envisioning her next chapter, coaching. Her transition into coaching was seamless. She began as an assistant at various collegiate programs, Ball State, Kansas State, and Toledo, learning the ropes and expanding her philosophy. Coaching, for her, wasn't just about systems and schemes, it was about people. She believed that great teams are built on relationships, on trust, and on shared purpose. Her approach was holistic. She cared about her players not just as athletes, but as individuals. She wanted them to grow on and off the court. Her ability to connect with players and her deep understanding of the game soon caught attention, and she was recruited into the WNBA coaching ranks. As an assistant coach for the Indiana Fever, she helped build a culture of discipline, resilience, and unity. By 2015, she had ascended to the role of head coach, a historic moment that marked a full-circle journey from player to leader within the same franchise. Her first year as head coach was extraordinary. Under her guidance, the Fever played with purpose and passion, reaching the 2015 WNBA Finals. Her calm demeanor, tactical awareness, and ability to inspire trust among her players made her stand out. Stephanie wasn't a coach who ruled through fear. She led through belief. She built confidence in her players by giving them responsibility and respect. In a league filled with strong personalities and elite talent, she managed to bring everyone together toward one shared goal, winning. Her time with the Fever showcased what kind of coach she truly was: strategic, adaptable, and empathetic. She understood when to push and when to listen. Her leadership was rooted in preparation. She never asked her players to do something she wasn't willing to do herself. Every film session, every practice, every adjustment reflected her deep commitment to excellence. After her success in the WNBA, White accepted the challenge of coaching at Vanderbilt University. There, she faced a different kind of test, rebuilding a program from the ground up. The college game had changed, and the competitive landscape was fierce. But White approached it with the same philosophy she always had: start with culture, and everything else will follow. At Vanderbilt, she worked tirelessly to instill belief in her players, emphasizing accountability, teamwork, and integrity. Her teams were known for their discipline and effort, even when the results didn't immediately show in the win column. White understood that real progress takes time, and that leadership often means staying patient in the face of adversity. In 2022, the next chapter of her career brought her back to the WNBA, this time as the head coach of the Connecticut Sun. It was an opportunity to reassert her tactical brilliance and leadership on the biggest stage in women's basketball, and she did not disappoint. The Sun were already a strong team, but under White's guidance, they evolved into one of the most cohesive, defensively tenacious, and emotionally connected squads in the league. Her ability to balance structure with freedom allowed stars like Alyssa Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, and Brianna Jones to thrive. That year, she was named the 2023 WNBA Coach of the Year, a recognition that spoke volumes about her influence and effectiveness. Stephanie White's coaching style blends the analytical with the emotional. She's meticulous about game planning, studying film, analyzing tendencies, and crafting detailed strategies, but she never loses sight of the human element. She understands that basketball is a game of trust as much as tactics. Players respect her because she listens. She holds them accountable, but she also empowers them. She doesn't coach from ego, she coaches from empathy. To her, leadership isn't about power, it's about purpose. Off the court, White has become a voice of wisdom and advocacy. She speaks openly about the challenges women face in leadership roles, particularly in sports. She's used her platform to encourage more women to pursue coaching, broadcasting, and executive positions, emphasizing the importance of visibility and representation. Her career is living proof that women can lead, excel, and thrive in environments that were once dominated by men. She's also a proud mother, and her journey as a parent adds another dimension to her legacy, showing that balance, though difficult, is possible with passion and discipline. What makes Stephanie White so remarkable is her ability to evolve. She's never been confined by labels. Not just a player, not just a coach, not just a mentor. She's all of those things and more. She's a thinker, a strategist, a motivator, and a trailblazer. She embodies what it means to stay grounded while still reaching higher. And through every chapter of her career, she's remained authentically herself, humble, hardworking, and committed to excellence. Her story, in many ways, parallels the rise of women's basketball itself, from the margins to the mainstream, from overlooked to unstoppable. Like the sport she's devoted her life to, Stephanie White has fought for respect, for opportunity, and for recognition. And she's earned it, not through flash, but through substance. Her impact can be felt in every locker room she's entered, every player she's coached, and every young girl who's watched her lead and thought, "I can do that too." Stephanie White's journey is a masterclass in perseverance and purpose. It's about understanding that greatness isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. It's about showing up every day, prepared and committed, no matter the circumstances. Her story reminds us that true leadership isn't about titles or trophies. It's about leaving people better than you found them. As her career continues, one thing is certain: Stephanie White's legacy will endure far beyond the sidelines. Whether it's through the players she mentors, the team she leads, or the lives she inspires, her influence will ripple through generations. She's a champion of character, a strategist of the highest order, and a living example of how intelligence, humility, and heart can change the game. This is the story of Stephanie White, the player who led with fire, the coach who leads with wisdom, and the woman whose purpose is far greater than the game itself. Her journey teaches us that basketball, at its core, is about connection, and she has spent her life connecting people to their potential, their strength, and their belief. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Stephanie White, a leader, a pioneer, and one of the most respected minds in the sport. If her story inspired you, if it reminded you that true greatness is built on purpose and persistence, take a moment to like this video, share it with another basketball fan, and subscribe for more stories of resilience and excellence. Because some leaders don't just coach the game, they elevate it. And Stephanie White is one of them.